the way I get to San Francisco is because I was in Buenos Aires, and in Buenos Aires was the Endeavor Gala. The
Yeah, I've been to the
yeah,
Endeavor Gala in Buenos
me
Aires.
too. But like the first time I went there, it was in the Colón Theater. The Colón Theater is a very famous theater in Argentina, which is respected everywhere. So the Endeavor Gala, they closed the Colón Theater for them, and I knew a guy that just like put me under his arm and maybe get through the door, and he got me there. And the after party, the after party was at a bar, so I went with all of these guys, which were Endeavor entrepreneurs, and me was like, I was 25, and I was like talking to everyone, hustling. And my plan was to go to the US, but I didn't know where to go. So a guy tells me, go and talk to that guy. His name is Santi Subotovsky. So I was like in this bar. We were like having drinking. We had been drinking for 2 or 3 hours. And it was like, yeah, my name is Lucas. I'm from Córdoba and I'm going to the US. And with Flick, I'm going to conquer the US. And he was like, where are you going? I know, I'm going to New York. And he was like, why? In New York, like a company, at the moment, a company has never been sold for more than 1 billion. And we've sold one last week, which was Yammer, right? So he told me, you shouldn't go to New York, you should come to San Francisco. Like, this guy doesn't know, because like these people don't know the influence that they have in other people's lives. I chose San Francisco based on a random conversation with this a very respected guy, but he told me you have to go to San Francisco. The next day, I booked my ticket to San Francisco. Next day.
I love it. And I think, Santi himself, now that you talk about, I should have him on the show. He has a very interesting story as well. For him to become a VC at Emergence and so forth, he ate a lot of shit as well. He was rejected so many times.
And a great guy.
But it's interesting.
Great guy.
He's a great guy. Great guy. Every time I've interacted with him, always hardworking and being honest with advice. And I think that it's important also for you to understand, right, like when to listen and not. That's the problem sometimes I have with like people in Latin America, is that, some other folks will say, oh, you know what, like this guy, he was like shitting on my dream because I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to versus actually, look, like this person is maybe 10 times more successful than you. And so he knows what he's talking about, and have the humility of listening and being grateful also that he was direct about, saying that. So that's a great story. That part I didn't know. So it was Santi that made you move.
These guys, they don't know. Very guys like they had we had small interactions with them, but it had like so much influence in my life, in the way I took decisions after I met them, the way I thought, it's I know, yeah, and I think sometime I always say like I would love if they knew, because for me San Francisco it changed my life, and everything that happened there was based on Santi's advice, and I know he may never know.
Well, I will tell him
tell him
if you let me
tell him.
when I catch up with him for sure. That's great.